This is the Conrad Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
Oh, for 5 years. 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and Odyssey. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is November the 29th, 2023, and this is episode 404 of Workshop Radio. Hope everyone out there in YouTube land and all the other places is having a great Wednesday. You probably wonder, what in the world is this dude doing live on the internet when the sun's still out? Well, it just so happens, like I told you, we've got a big Christmas go away, get together type thing that we do every year. So things will be shut down well, they won't be shut down. I just won't be doing any lives until Sunday evening. Not a big deal, but I wanted to get one more episode in with you guys before we take off. So yeah, anyway, got a bunch of stuff in the pipeline coming up for you. Let's get the two announcements out of the way. I want to shout out to Jules, Clark, and Beth out there already this morning. I know this is an odd time for everybody, and I appreciate those who show up. Number one is Homestead Ham Radio. That's my buddy Nate Lemaster from Two Chicks Homestead. He's the bearded chick, in case you're wondering. The dude lives and breathes ham radio. He loves emergency comms. He loves everything about it. And he decided, why don't I monetize it? Turn it into a way that I can help people and make money. You know, I love both those things. And he's done it. So give him some support, guys, from the community. If you're looking to get a little bit of advisory in so that he can tell you exactly what you need to do or what he thinks you should do. Or if you're like, you know what, I really just want to get a couple of handheld radios and have him do all the programming for me, all the stuff that I don't really understand, then reach out to him, guys. It's Homestead Ham Radio, and that's Nate and Aaron at Two Chicks Homestead. And number two, this has been way more well received than I thought it would be, but it's our Black Friday week patch of the month special celebration. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's been good. Thank you guys for the response so far. If anybody's wondering, if you're out there and you've been on the fence, you've got until tomorrow night at midnight to sign up for the yearly patch of the month. So it renews every year. It's $100 a year. You get a cool, politically incorrect patch every single month. Stuff like what's on my hat here, but you know, usually they're about a 2x3 Velcro. So if you've got yourself some hook and loop on some different things, you can show off the workshop swag. But here's the deal, guys. Yes, everybody knows you get a patch every month for $100 a year. If you sign up for the $100 recurring yearly thing, you'll get the 12 patches from the last year free included. I've never done it before, and it expires on the 30th of this year. And if you're looking for that deal, you're going to have to wait 12 months till next year. So if you've been on the fence and think, man, I'd really like to support the workshop, that's the way to do it. And I'd love to send you out some cool swag. So love having you here this morning, folks. And you know, one of my rules to live by, one of my rules of life is don't set New Year's resolutions, set goals. For many years, I would set resolutions. I tell the same story over and over again. When I worked at Home Hardware, there was one guy there every single year. He would set a resolution to quit smoking. Some years it would go a day. Some years it would go 3 months. But eventually the poor dude would go back to smoking. He liked to smoke about as much as I like my food. And he would always set a resolution. He'd say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. The problem is that the first time he broke his resolution, he would just go right back to the way it was. Well, and I know this seems foolish, but it's just the mindset that a lot of us live in, and it sucks. He would break his resolution. He'd have his first smoke, and he'd say, well, I guess there's always next year. No, there's not. There's the next minute, the next hour, the next day. Wake up and start over again. Why do you think U.S.A started the Camp Hope group for all of us wanting to lose weight and get healthy? Because there's none of this bullshit. Well, I had a pizza, so I guess we'll start January 1st. Nope, start right now. Don't worry about it. U.S.A's great about that. He's like, well, today's one day. on to the next. And that's what you do. If you screw up, keep going. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. Great to see you as well. So for me, over beyond anything else, one of the things that has suited me the best since 2016 is when I started setting yearly goals. If you go back in my phone, in the notepads, I have, it says goals for, and then 2016, 2017, all the way up. I have the last 7 years and, well, now 8 because 2024 is in there. And the best way to get as much shit done in the year that you want to do in the upcoming year is simply by setting goals. Resolutions are meant to be broken. Goals are meant to be achieved. And the cool thing about a goal, and I talk about this a ton, and I will harp on it until forever. Simple as that. The cool thing about a goal is if you don't attain it, you've already made progress. A resolution is binary, yes or no. I either succeed or I fail. The great thing about a goal is it gives you something to achieve or to strive toward. And let's use a YouTube channel, for instance. So say you wanted to launch your YouTube channel and you had a goal that by the end of 2024, you had 1,000 subscribers. It's pretty realistic goal, no problem at all. Well, here's the thing. If you only got to 943 subscribers in 2024, on January 1st, 2025, would you delete your channel and call it a day? No, of course not. You'd be excited about the fact that you made so much progress. And that's the difference between a resolution and a goal, folks. And this is where it comes into me. This is where the passion is set yourself some goals, because the great thing about going after a goal is even if you don't attain it the first time or in the time frame you ask for or you shot for, you're still making tons of progress. So I like, when I'm talking about goals, I love to go back and dig through some of the old stuff that I've had. And I actually have probably 80 to 90% of my show notes in a folder called content on my desktop that goes right back to January 15th, 2020. So we're talking 4 years ago, just about at this point. And so I just typed in the word goals and I wanted to go back and see. And I found a couple of different shows that I did. Well, they weren't shows at the time. One of them was the how to start a handyman business or building your business kind of series that I had. And there was a really cool story in there. So this story was written 3 years ago. So just remember it, but I wanted to share it with you. And to me, you've heard many people say the dash, make the best of your dash. When you look at a headstone in a cemetery, that little line that goes between the day you're born and the day you die is everything that matters in your life. And for me, I kind of like to look at it like a funeral program. And let me tell you where this came from. 3 years ago, well, anyway, 6 years ago at this point, but back when I was first starting my snow removal business, I got a call from an old dude, an elderly gentleman. Turned out he was a great guy, but I didn't know at the time. And he said, "Yep, I got to tell you, my family says I need somebody to come and clear my snow." I thought, "Oh, okay." He goes, "I don't think I do, but if you want to come over and talk, we can." And he couldn't manage it anymore. He would go out some days and he would brush off his steps and things like that. But it had gotten so bad that his family was worried he was going to go out, have a heart attack or fall and break a hip in the middle of the snow. So he called me up. He says, "Tim, come on over. I want to talk. I want to meet you." I was like, okay. Normally my customers weren't this formal. They just said, "Yep. What's your price?" "Okay, great." So I went over, knocked on his door, went into the back porch, old, beautiful home. He says, "Come on in, sit down at the table." So I sat down at the kitchen table and we chatted for a little while. And as we chatted, I sat down and I looked over, and on his counter, it was actually next to his counter on his fridge with a bunch of magnets, was a thick stack of what I realized after a little while were funeral programs. And they were all people he knew. They were friends, family, even his wife. And each one of them represented a life well lived, represented something or somebody that meant something to my customer. They represented a life lived, hopefully, that they attained all their goals. And that was an entire stack of people who had lived and died, had goals, had families, had meant something to my new friend. And I looked at that and I thought, that's crazy. And so I give him his price, and he said, "Oh, that's too low. And it didn't matter. So I give him that price every month because I was taking care of him. And it didn't matter that I had to do all the snow. way more there than anywhere else. And he would always tip me. And at Christmas, he would give me an envelope with some money in it. And about 3 years later, I was sitting in the backyard. We were having we were sitting around the fire pit. We have a little propane fire table at that time. And I'm just chatting with my girls. And I put my hand in the pocket of my fold up chair. I don't even know what I was looking for. Who knows? Just digging around. And I pull out this piece of paper. And it was the funeral program for my customer who had passed away. We started out as a customer, kind of employee and customer. And then we became friends. And eventually we even became neighbors. We moved in back alley, kind of kitty corner from him. And I thought at that moment, I thought back 3 years prior when I first met him, and I was sitting in his kitchen looking at all those funeral programs that were sitting on his fridge. And I thought, his life's there now too. And I remember the last conversation I had with him. He was a great guy. I miss him lots. His family was nice enough. It was right during COVID. They could barely invite anyone to the funeral, and they took it upon themselves to invite me. And it meant a lot. And ever since then, maybe once or twice a year, I will think about that funeral program sitting right there in that pocket and how that's what represents. That's how fast a life well lived. And he was not a young dude. He was in his 80s when he passed away. But how fast those 80 years must have went. So not to start on a dark note or a sad note, I just want it to be, I want us to know we get one kick at the can here on this mortal coil, no matter where you live, no matter where you stand on anything. And damn it, get out there and make the absolute best of it. And what's the easiest? No, what's the best way to make the best of what you want? Setting damn goals, guys. So let's get out. Let's make 2024 the best year we can. Let's make it one of those years that adds to our funeral program, because no matter how dark it sounds, that's really what it is. At the end of the day, that's where it is. We want to get all the shit done. We want to look after our family. We want to build a legacy. Maybe we want to, save money. We want to have, we want to enjoy retirement. We want to have an entrepreneurial venture, whatever it is for you. Maybe you want to be the worldwide seller of suction cups for the dashboards on Jeeps for everywhere. Maybe you want to get on Shark Tank and sell, who knows? But whatever your goal is, set it, make it attainable. The old SMART, how does it go? Specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, realistic, and time sensitive. And make SMART goals, folks. So yeah, when I found that story of my old customer, I wanted to share it with you this morning. But here's the thing. We have 32 days left in 2023. I'm excited. Whatever. I don't celebrate birthdays. I mean, we do, but whatever. It's no big deal. 1 year older. But there's something about when the clock strikes midnight on December 31st to January 1st, there is optimism in the air. And it's a great time to just continue to first look back on all the great shit you've done the year before, and then look forward to all the cool stuff you want to do going forward. So before we start planning our goals for 2024, it's fun to go back and look through your goals that you set for this year and previous years. So if you're like me and you keep a list of them, it's great to go back and look them over. And I just want to show House of Peebles. I think that's what it says. Greetings from a longtime fan. Well, greetings from myself, the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta. It's great to have you. I love, sometimes I get to see some people when I go live at odd times. So it's great to have you. Thanks for dropping in. So go back and look at your goals. I flipped through. There's some foolish stuff in there. 2016, one of my goals was to learn how to ice skate and to rollerblade. And I did it. I spent that entire winter ice skating with the girls. I don't think I've been on skates ever since, but it was something I wanted to learn. In 2016, I had get my ham radio license. And guess what? I did. I got my basic license anyway. And that's where that's all I got. That's all I have. That's it so far. I should do more eventually. I'd love to get my advanced so I could do HF communications, but that was a step. It was something I wanted to do. 2016, when I started my goals, this YouTube channel didn't exist. It wasn't even a thought about existing, which was kind of cool. 2017, I was just starting to look at building a business. 2018, I was looking at growing the business. 2019, I was starting to build an online presence with the Facebook page, but YouTube really wasn't a thing yet. And then 2020 went balls to the wall with everything. And it's fun to look back because here's the thing. when we look back at all the goals that we set, at all the cool shit we've done, it inspires us to maybe reach for the stars on the next go around. So in 2024, it might just be one of those things you're like, you know what? I need to set just a little bit higher goals because I've been rather reserved. I've been held back with with what I've allowed myself to do in a year because I think I'll never get it done. But dude, I'm telling you, when you go back and you look at the shit you've got done over the last 12 months, man, you can get a lot done. So go back and look at it and let yourself get motivated, let yourself get inspired and think, oh yeah, I can do this. Because in the day-to-day grind, every day you log in and you look at your YouTube channel, or every day you look at, okay, I haven't got any new customers for my business, but if I look back and I realize over the last 12 months, I just haven't got any this month, no big deal. Use your goals that you've attained for the fuel to light the fire under your ass for the goals for 2024. Shout out to Rickster. Great to see you in here from Northern Utah. Love seeing new names in here. All right. So we looked back, we motivated ourselves, we give ourselves a little kick to the butt and thought, oh yeah, that's some great stuff. So where do we start? And for me, when I start planning for the next year, it's usually around this time, sometimes a little earlier. But what I will do is I will create a blank, I don't want to say blank sheet of paper because it's electronic, but on the iPhone, I have the Notes app. And so I'll just open it up and I'll tap new and I'll put in goals for 2024. That's it. 3 words. That way I can always find them. If I type in goals for the search, that comes up and it'll always be the newest one. And I just work my way through. But here's the thing. As you're walking, driving, doing your day-to-day thing, whenever anything insanely crazy for a goal or something, you're like, I'd love to do this next year, write it in there. I don't care how insane it could be. It could be that you want to, I don't know, go bungee jumping on all of the continents. Okay, whatever. Not my cup of tea, but it might be something you want. Anything that you're remotely interested in, write it down. Write it all down. Remember, none of this is set in stone. You can change it. You can even change your goals after January 1st. That's the crazy thing, because again, goals are signposts. Goals are really just stepping stones to help you make progress. So if what's important to you changes halfway through 2024, it's okay to go back, use a pencil, erase it, and change it. You're not moving the goalposts. You're just changing your priorities. And that's what I like. It's not, you don't use that as an excuse not to succeed or not to achieve things. But as the year goes on, you might realize, nah, I'm not going to do this. I do not want to be a content creator, or, I don't want to be washing people's laundry at home. I don't want to be bringing that into my place. So that's not going to be my business, but maybe I'm going to alter people's clothes for them and do seamstress work, or maybe I'm going to walk dogs or whatever. The thing is, the goal was financial freedom, independence, self-reliance, but you formed it in the fact that I want to do this specific thing. And if that specific thing isn't working, we're going to change it a little bit. So remember, they're not set in stone, and that's okay. But what I like about this is about a month before the end of the year, I'll take a look back over the last 11 months. I'll see what I've done. I'll see what I need to finish. Where can I ramp up to get those things done? And then I'll just start putting things in that notepad. And what I like about that is when they're in that notepad, it works in the back part of your brain, the subconscious. It's always there, just kind of beating around. And, every so often they'll just hop up. And a lot of times that back part of your brain, whatever it's called, will just be on autopilot, and it'll say, okay, well, this is what I want. This is, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of synapses will connect and fire all at once. And you'd be like, that's the goal I need. The thing is, if you try to sit down on December 31st at 11 p.m. at night and try to write your goals for the next year, they're not going to be really good goals because you didn't spend a lot of time on them. You just rush through them, just like that 1,500-word essay that you needed to write in university, and you wrote it at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday night, Monday morning, and handed it in 3 hours later, right? Doesn't work that way. You got to give them time to percolate, guys. What's the key to a good cup of coffee or a good cup of tea? Let it steep long enough. And that's what you need to do with your goals. Let them steep, put them in that piece of paper, and then keep editing them for the next 32 days until 2023 is over. And then you'll modify, you'll change. You'll think, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And that's the best way to find the most benefit out of doing these goals. And then when 2024 gets here, or at the end of 2023, whatever it is, find somebody to share your goals with. Because if you keep them silent, number one, you're not going to be excited about them. And number two, you have no accountability. And I've said that all along. You need community, and community could be online, electronic community. It could be with your family, doesn't matter, but you need community. And the reason you need community is for encouragement and accountability. You need somebody who is going to tell you, Tim, those are stupid goals. True story. If somebody thinks that doesn't line up with what you stand for, then I would hope one of my friends would call me out and say, Tim, that's dumb. Don't go for that. Or, you know what? You can do better than that. Kind of like when somebody comes into the Telegram group and they're like, hey guys, I want to charge $11 an hour for my handyman services. And we all jeer and boo and say, no, you're worth way more than that. Again, that's the beauty of community. So share your goals with somebody. It could be a coffee drinking buddy. It could be your wife, or it could be, a bunch of workshop delinquents in the Telegram group, whatever it happens to be. But once you get them on paper, let them beat around for a while and then share them with somebody, because that's what gets you out there and gets you going. So I thought, what better way to talk about goals than for me to share what I have put down so far. So I've been doing mine it's probably been the better part of a month. I actually started my 2024 goal list a little bit early. And again, it's all about brainstorming. It's just this kind of, cerebral brain dump into this, and things will change. What'll end up happening for me, and it's because I'm an old man and I like lists, this random dump of items, to-do lists, that kind of thing, will eventually turn into this kind of organized thing where it'll be, one will be business, one will be content, one will be health, one will be hobbies, one will be prepping, and then I'll throw in all the goals underneath of it. And as I achieve them or I get closer, I'll put, I don't know where I started this, but I'll put five stars when it's completed. I'll put 5 stars and I'll cross through it. But if it's 20% done, I'll put 1 star next to it. If I figure it's 40%, I'll put 2. That's just a way for me to kind of keep track of where I'm going and which goals to kind of focus on over the next little while. But here's some of the goals that I've set, some of the brain dump stuff. So the first one for me is the Amazon Influencers Program. And I've talked about that a bit, but I haven't really talked about it a lot. So when you first start out in content creation, once I think you hit about 500 subscribers, something like that, you can sign up for the Amazon affiliate program. And that's if somebody buys something and uses your link, you get a little bit of money. And eventually I got asked to join the Amazon Influencers Program. There's not a lot of work. You just kind of upload. I upload shorts. As long as they don't have any kind of logos or marking or anything on them, you can upload a video talking about a product that you enjoy. And what's cool about that is that shows up right on the Amazon program. And when somebody looks at it and they think, I want to know more information about this, they click on it, they can watch your video. And if they buy it, you get the commission as well. And I realized there's a really good return for investment there. So I put up, I think, about another 25 videos, and I'm seeing a bit of a return on it. And so I'm going to expand that quite a bit because I think that's an untapped revenue potential for the workshop. And I'm excited about that. The next goal, something to strive toward, is continue to put out one top-notch review video every single week. Now, here's what that means to me. My review videos used to take me an hour to put together. They now take me 4-5 hours to put together, minimum, maybe more. And guess what? They're shorter. The old ones that took me an hour to put together were 15 minutes long. These new ones that take 4, 5, 6 hours are 5, 6, 8 minutes long because I'm cutting out all the fluff, and I've learned a lot about making a good quality YouTube video for a review. And so to me, the better the quality, the more time goes into the video behind the scenes, and that's okay. Number 3, the best damn podcast possible. And that means improving on podcasts. That means listening to other people. It means listening back to myself, something I don't do as often as I should, but I really should. Doing that helps you filter out that kind of stuff. When you're listening, you think, what? Yeah, no. And also doesn't necessarily mean filler words, but it may also mean certain words that you use all the time. Or it may just be your cadence when you realize, hey, I just talk like this all the time and I really am not that enjoyable to listen to. You realize, hey, it's maybe time to work on both your presentation, your speed, all of that. It's the only way to make my podcast the best damn podcast I can make for you guys is by getting better, 1% better every single day. Next, get the property livable for Mama and I in Tennessee. We're almost there already, guys, which is exciting. I'm excited to get there. I'm heading back down, I think, in middle of February, something like that, for maybe a month or two. It's quite exciting. I'm going to just go balls to the wall again down there and get as much done as I can. But it sure would be nice to be a place that we can go down, stay for a month if we wanted, stay for a week, or if it ever came to it and we needed to go down there long term, it would be ready for us, or at least a lot more ready for us. That makes sense. I sound like piss poor English, Tim. How about next? Find a minimum of 4 more companies. So these are where there's specifics for me as well. So I've been preaching this last year for anybody who's listening, if they want to start a content creation business, one of the best ways to start is to review some items that you really like, that you use. So you're not being disingenuous about endorsing these products, and find products that will partner with you specifically so that you're not going through, a third party or anything like that. You don't need, so there's a lot of affiliate companies out there that will take their cut as well. Those percentages don't seem to be nearly as good. So look for companies that pay a really good commission rate and you deal with them directly, because they don't tend to have requirements for how large your channel is. So that's, for me, that would be a key if you're getting started. And for me, I want to find 4 more of those this year. I want to take the time, sit down, look at the stuff that I really use, that I really enjoy, that I have no problem talking to anybody about, and then reach out to the companies and find which ones have specific individual commissions. Chris Dixon says, dude, you're all over them. I know this has been one hell of a week for a schedule. And this, I wanted to get one in for everybody before we go away for this 4-day weekend. It's all messed up. And at the end of today's episode, I'm going to give you a rundown of the schedule for December, because things are, again, when the holidays come up, things get messed up a little bit. And I'm going to take a full week off this year. I don't think I've ever really done a full week. So it's going to be good. All right. What's next? Get below my goal weight and stay there. Don't just stay there for a day or two. Stay there for eternity, for the rest of my life. That's it. Simple as that. I'm not going to backslide again. And so from there, Jules says, from listening to other channels, I might have a couple ideas for you to look into, Tim. I would love that, Jules. Always looking for, yeah, you guys are great. This is, again, encouragement, accountability. That's what community is all about. All right. So get below my goal weight, stay the hell there. Don't budge from it. 2 6-week trips south of the border. And that doesn't mean Mexico. That means south of the Canadian border. So yeah, that looks like I'm going to do 2 kind of month-and-a-half trips down south to work on the property, do some speaking engagements, meet up with some friends. Really excited about that. How about this one? This is probably the biggest one for Becky and I. Get the daycare up and running. The daycares, sorry. When we get these, our goal eventually is to have 5 daycares running. Even when we get these 3 running, if we were to just live off these 3 daycares, we would be set for life. I'm no doubt at all. So that's where we're heading. We want to get these 3 up and running, and then look at the 2 more we want to open in a bigger city, we're thinking. But for now, these 3, get them running and, invest some money, be set for life. That is our goal for this year. Do 12 in-person interviews. I actually have already lined up a couple for next year. You guys heard that I'm going, well, we'll talk about what I'm going to launch here shortly, but these in-person interviews, I really enjoy them. And so I want to get some bigger names that I can meet up with in person and get you guys a half hour to an hour interview. Jules wants to know if you're going to Midwest Preparedness. I would say highly likely. I'm not going to commit to any events until January 1st of next year of 2024. Just my own personal thing so that I can kind of make sure I got my schedule working right. But there's a good chance I'll be there. I really enjoyed it for sure. Another goal for this year, is speak 10 times. So I speak all the time, but do presentations at events and that sort of thing. I think I topped out, I'm not sure, maybe 8 or 9. I got to look. I don't even know what I topped out last year. Maybe 10 is too low. Maybe I need to go quite a bit higher than that. But yeah, that's the goal. Again, if I go higher than that, great. If I don't quite hit it, well, I've made progress, right? Massive celebration for episode 500. So let's see. In about 30 weeks, we're going to be hitting episode 500 of Workshop Radio. I am stoked, and I want to figure out a way to give back and celebrate all of that. It's going to be exciting. But whatever you guys have ideas coming up in the next few months, throw them at me, because we're going to have one hell of a celebration for episode 500. How about I'm going to launch a Patreon platform? I've been looking quite a bit. It'll probably be also a YouTube membership. I'm not sure, but I do like the interaction or the interface of Patreon, and that's where these in-person interviews are going to be. I will fill you guys in on how it's going to work, but I know there's some people who would like that. There may be some, early access to some videos. There'll definitely be a little bit of exclusive content, but I'm at the point where I'm putting out enough that if I'm going to put out any more, I think it needs to be behind a paywall. And Sean Mills come up with that idea, and I love him for it, because he looked at me and he says, "What, do you hate money?" And I said, "No, I don't." And so there'll never be a cut back on anything that's put on here now, but there'll just be more access and that sort of thing behind Patreon. And I'm pretty excited about it. It won't be expensive by any means. I'm going to build out my get home bag. We talked about that the other night in the episode, and it was I'm looking forward to it. Some water purification pills showed up the other day, a couple of headlamps. I'm going to do some testing, but more than buying the gear, I'm going to learn some new skills this year. Some things that I have never really delved into a whole lot. And, it's great to have a bag full of shit, but if you don't know what to do with it, I've said it all along, if you don't know the difference between a drill and a hammer, they can both be a hammer. And well, I use them for that anyway. But again, if you have all this gear in a bag and you can't hike to save your life, and you don't know how to build a fire, and all of this, you can't build a field expedient shelter with a tarp, well, then you might as well not have any of it, because it's no good to you, right? How about this? Becky came up with this recently. Well, I mean, her and I talked about it a bunch, but she said, "Tim, you really need to do some sort of teaching course." And it'll be in person. It'll also be on kind of a Zoom thing, but it's going to be something along the lines of a post-apocalyptic handyman course. It'll be very similar to, like what Evan Dixon's doing with his radio, what Chuck is doing with his first aid. And this will be something that will teach people the absolute basics of home maintenance, things, the ability to fix shit when nobody's around to help you fix shit, that kind of stuff. The things that people don't necessarily learn in school. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to teaching it for sure. Next, this is not a big, hairy, audacious goal, but it's a pretty big one. And I'm just going to be honest with it. I'm ready to, I set a goal last year that by the end of this year, I would be making enough money to support our family off it. And it would be tight, but I could do it now. It's there. And so I'm going to shoot big, and I'm going to say by the end of next year, my content creation will be bringing in a 6-figure income. And if that's the case, that's a great place to be happy at. And we're shooting for that. Next, we're going to we got some merch in the pipeline. We're going to do at least a couple of batches of silver. I'm excited. Everybody keeps asking, when are you going to do the next batch of silver? And we're going to do a custom multi-tool. We're going to settle on a multi-tool. I had originally thought about getting a neck knife done, and we may do that in a couple of years. But U.S.A come up with the idea of a Leatherman, and I've been looking for a Leatherman for a while, and I think there's a few people in the workshop community who would probably like to have one. And it looks like, all said and done, it's probably going to be in about the $150 range. So it may or may not be for everybody, but it's going to be, U.S.A is going to do custom laser etching, laser engraving. I'm not sure what you call it. And, it'll be individually numbered. It'll have the workshop logo. And anyway, it'll be very special. So we're going to probably do 10 or 12 of those this year. Let me know down the road if you're interested. I'll let you know when we're going to launch them. But I'm just going to give a little bit away. Yosick did some testing the other day, and it turned out so beautiful. That dude, anyway, what an awesome guy he is. I brag him up all the time. I know he's a couple episodes behind, so he won't hear this for a bit. But don't let it go to your head, brother. But you're a great guy. And we're gonna throw out two big, hairy. This came from Nicole. The big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAGs. And they're just things that would be really awesome if they happened. It'll give me something to shoot for. But the first one, of course, is Mike Rowe. I'm going to continue to hound Mike Rowe's people until we find the person that says, hey, I'll get Mike Rowe on the show for you. Or Mike will do a 15-minute in-person interview or whatever. I would settle for 15 minutes. I'd love to have an hour with the dude, but we'll see. Anyway, that's one of my big, hairy, audacious goals. And another one that I've been beating around in my head for a while, and this one could happen, is to get an episode of Workshop Radio on Real Radio. And I know you're like, why, Tim? And I'm not even really 100% sure. I just love the idea of actually being on terrestrial radio. So I will find an outlet for that. And hopefully we'll do like a PG version, a once a week PG version of Workshop Radio that will be, airwave friendly. I would have a lot of fun with that. So let's see. And those are the goals. So I want to shout out to you guys. I know it's early. Anybody hasn't had their coffee, although it's not that early on the East Coast at this point. But I'd love to hear. I'd love you guys to throw out one or two of your goals that you want to attain over the next year, because it to me it's always way more fun when we can share goals together as opposed to keeping them all internal and not verbalizing them. Because once you make them real, once you make them public, they become real, and you have to live with it at that point. So anybody who wants to share them, throw them in the comments as we go. I wanted to fill you guys in on one more thing here. Today will be a little shorter episode. I wanted to fill you in on December schedule. What's insane is that the last of all of the content coming out in the workshop at this point will be December. That's it. All that's left is December, because tomorrow's November 30th, which makes Friday, December 1st. How friggin' insane is that? So first off, I believe we've got the live schedule going forward. Everything's going to be fine up until the 22nd something of December. So the times I will be on a regular, Thursday, Friday, Sunday evening, 6 p.m. schedule. It's going to be great. So first off, this Sunday, I'm stoked. My buddy Brad from 5 Times August is going to be on. If you haven't listened to his stuff, look him up on YouTube. You are going to be blown away by how good of. Man, I love his music. He's awesome. I've interviewed him twice at Prepper Camp. We've spent quite a bit of time chatting over that period, and he's going to bring his A game. I am 95% sure he's going to play a couple of songs at the end of the episode as well, just like Slave to Servant. So yeah, I'm excited. Anyway, so his interview is going to be this Sunday evening. So then Sunday after that, December 10th, we got Andy, community member Andy Higginbotham. He's coming on. Well, anyway, we'll chat. I'll fill you in on what he's going to talk about later on. But if you don't know Andy, he is going to be, he was the guy who worked his ass off at the workshop workday and also supplied all the food too. He just a great friend and a guy who knows something about a lot of stuff. And then December 17th, I'm excited about this one. Tentatively scheduled. If you guys have met Willow from Self-Reliance Festival, Nicole and I and a few other friends of the workshop are going to put together an accelerator program. Basically, she says her superpower is sunshine. In other words, she has a sunshiny personality. I mean, she's cutting herself short because I think she's a fire. I don't know what. She does some pretty crazy things that she can do. Anyway, so she wants to know, how can she build entrepreneurship, self-reliance, that sort of thing into her life? So we're going to sit down and we're going to do a live discussion with her and kind of go through the whole process of developing monetization ideas for her lifestyle. So I'm excited about that. I hope you guys are as well. So that'll be the last live interview, as far as I know, unless something comes up for 2023. But we'll move into that from there. I want to throw up, while we're doing this here, number one, the Rickster said, my goal is to raise 90% of my own food. Dude, that is an incredible goal. And I would love to I'd love to hear how you make out. I absolutely would. And Pippin, find a different paycheck plantation and get back to the side hustles. Love it, brother. At some point, move to Tennessee. Anyway, no, it's great. I love hearing it. Absolutely. And good morning, Jeremy. One step closer. Great to see you. All right. So we got 5 times August on Sunday. Andy the Sunday after that. Live Accelerator with Willow on the 17th. Christmas Eve will be the King of the Hill special. I'll be sending out parts to everybody this week coming. I just need you to record them. They don't have to be perfect by any means, and send them back to me. I will edit them, put the show together, and we will have the King of the Hill Y2K special as our Christmas special this year. I'm really excited. Going to be good. So, like I said, I'm going to be shutting down for 7 days at Christmas. So there'll be no content, no shows from December 23rd through the 30th. I'm not even going to do replays or anything. Not that I ever do replays anyway. I've always had some pre-recorded content, but Becky's shutting all the daycares down. I'm going to shut this down. We're going to just spend 7 days and have fun with the family from the 23rd to the 30th. And it's going to be great. Now, something I haven't mentioned yet, but I bet you've been wondering if we're going to do it again or not. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, we are going to do the 24 hours of workshop radio. All talk, all day. I loved it. So whoever's interested in contributing content, let me know. If you weren't here last year for it, it was a fun time. We put together, I believe it was 2 swings. I'm not exactly. I think it was 2 swings of 12 hours of content, and it was a lot of fun. It was a pre-recorded show. I may interject with some live commentary. I'm not sure, but it'll probably just be pre-recorded that we can jump on. Basically, it'll be the soundtrack of the new year, and I'll have content from all kinds of different content creators. We can listen to them, and the live chat will be going all the time. What Becky and I did last year was we had the show running we had YouTube running on our TV screen the whole day. It was nice just to have it in the background. So anyway, I will reach out to everybody, let you know as time goes on, but we are definitely going to be doing 24 hours. It actually ended up being 48 hours of workshop talk radio. And word of the year. But before we do that, I'm going to share a couple things. Jules says, I haven't even thought about goals in years. It's always the same. To get some property, or at least find someone with property that I can rent, barter a small space for me to at least get started. I hope everybody heard that. To get some property, or to at least find someone with property that I can rent or barter a small space for me to at least get started. Power of community, folks. And if there's somebody out there that thinks they can make something work for Jules, I would love to hear about that. Jeremy, my goal, have a down payment for Tennessee land in hand and be actively shopping for land. Love it. Jason Elliott, great to see you in here this morning. Gonna grow his CNC woodworking business in 2024. Nothing wrong with that at all. Love it. I love hearing these goals, guys, because it motivates me. It charges my batteries up, and it sends me out to fly and to get this shit done. All right. So the one more thing as we're working through here, word of the year. Not everybody does a word of the year. I have been doing a word of the year since 2020. The word of the year came from Jenny Hill, I believe, when she was living in the Holler Homestead area, the Holler compound there with Nicole. And she basically said she needed a word that would encompass all of her goals. To me, it's kind of like a filter. It's a word that you hold up to look through, kind of like a lens that says, does this goal line up with the overall theme, the overall thing that I want to accomplish this year? And in 2020, my word was build. And that was, all of these have been based on my business and my content creation. So the first one was, I just wanted to build something, anything. I wanted to kind of start it, plant a seed and start to build. 2021 was grow. And that meant, I built something. I started something from scratch. And then I wanted to make it bigger. I wanted to expand its reach. And in 2022, it was invest. And that was the year that I decided this was going to be a thing. And I'm going to invest both my time, my energy, and my money into the business, into the content creation. And I'm going to go whole hog to build something incredible. So I went from build to grow to invest. Last year, I realized that I was kind of flailing a little bit and trying a whole bunch of things all over. And that's kind of how you start. But my word of the year for 2023 was concentrate. And that didn't mean that I was going to, not do as much. It meant I was going to concentrate all of my energy on the things that were the most important. Think about concentrate orange juice, right? It packs a big punch. If you drink, that frozen pulp of orange juice, it's going to, take the hair right off your chest. But for me, it was all about concentrating on the things that give me the biggest investments, the biggest bang for a buck, because that's how you grow. Now, 2024, I finally settled on my word of the year last night. Now it may change, but I don't think it's going to, because I've seen a bit of this. I saw this for about 3 months leading into my trip that I took all, across the southern states. And I'm starting to see it happen in my channel and in the community again. And my 2024 word is going to be accelerate. And I thought, what better way? I spent last year concentrating on the things that give me the biggest return and the small things that are going to, again, accelerate things this year. So I've been implementing a lot of simple little things that are going to have big dividends down the road. And so my word of the year this year is accelerate. And what does that mean? It means doing all the things that are going to finally find that exponential growth. And I'm excited about it because I can see it, I can feel it, I can hear it knocking on the door right around the corner. Jason Elliott says, Jenny Hill. Jenny is a badass. She's an inspiration to many. She absolutely is. And this, speaking of living and creating a legacy, this word of the year has taken on an incredible thing. Rickster, my word of the year for 2024 is family. I love it. Jules' word of the year is faith. Love it. 100%, guys. And that's all it is. And that word is for you. And it is it's the lenses. You hold up, sunglasses, you get those kind of yellowy ones and it makes everything yellow. The word of the year is your lens to look through that will tell you, yep, that goal lines up. Nope, that goal does not line up. So when I was putting my show notes together, I told you I went back and I looked through a bunch of my old show notes from 3.5 years ago. Sometimes it's a really good reminder when setting goals to look back and to see the things that you've done and that you've accomplished. And I wanted to share this. This was from my 500 subscriber special on, I wrote a script for it. My scripts aren't quite as in depth as they used to be, but at one time I would write everything word for word. So this was written 11/27/2020. So 3 years ago, basically 3 years ago to the day, I wrote this. And this was talking about some of the goals that I would love to see. This was just after we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. And we're at 11,200 and something now, which is friggin' awesome. Thank you, guys. These were my goals. This was one of my goals, a couple of them. In the new year, I would like to incorporate a Skype interview once a month or so on a Monday where I interview someone from our community that has started a side hustle or gone full time with their business. I've had more than a dozen guys reach out to me this year telling me that how my videos have been their kick the ass they needed to start making real money. So I wanted to give them a chance to tell their story. So there's a lot in there that's wrong, but you can see it. You can see the seed that grew into Workshop Radio, that grew into 404 episodes later. It was, I didn't even know what I didn't know. I didn't even know what StreamYard was. I didn't know how to stream. I'd never done it before. I wasn't even planning on doing them live. I was planning on pre-recording them. I was planning on doing them monthly. But it was going to be people coming out of the community, sharing their story. It was going to be powerful. And guess what? It is. It was. It will be. 11/27/20, 3 years ago. That was one of my goals. Next, this was funny. I wanted to share this so other people, are encouraged. You might have noticed I started an Amazon affiliate link a few months ago. Well, I had some decent success with it. I got 4 sales in my first month, and then Amazon canceled my affiliate link because I didn't have enough subscribers. They said I needed 500, so here I am. So I've been telling that story wrong. I thought I got canceled for not having enough money spent on my Amazon affiliate, but it wasn't that. It was because I didn't meet the criteria. I remember now when I read this, that what they do is they temporarily approve you, and within 90 days, they look back and they say that they give you a deep look to see, is he worth keeping or not? And I got 4 sales that first month, but they canceled me. I remember now waking up that morning, getting the email from Amazon saying, thanks, but no thanks. I was dejected. 500. That was the first bit of real money I had made from my content 3 years ago. And they're like, nah, see you later. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't pack it up. I didn't go home. I didn't tuck my tail between my legs and take my baseball glove and go back. No, I stuck with it. I kept going, and I launched my Amazon affiliate again. And it's turned into a decent little moneymaker, and it's spun off into a ton of other things. But again, don't give up. That's what your goals are for. And the final paragraph that I wrote in 11/27/2020. A couple of other updates. Since we weren't busy enough, this one just makes me happy. Since we weren't busy enough, my wife decided to open a preschool with her sister, and we have finished up the renovations and are just waiting on final license from the government. What's better than one business in the family? 2. 4 years ago, I would have thought you were full of shit if you'd have said I would be working for myself full time, let alone my wife starting her own business. So keep on hustling. 3 years ago, guys, I had just hit my 500 subscribers on Amazon. I was not an Amazon affiliate. I was just starting to think about doing live shows, live interviews, and we hadn't even opened our daycare yet. We hadn't even gotten permission from the powers to be to turn the lights on yet. 3 years ago. That's the power of goals, guys. And that is where it's at. So think about it. Whatever your goals are going forward over the next 12 months, spend the next month throwing them down in paper. Let them beat around in the back of your head. Let your brain do what it does best. Think about things on autopilot while you're busy getting shit done. Simple as that. And then make 2024 one hell of a year, because that's what we do. When we're all said and done, when we've passed away from this mortal coil, and when the only memories left, if you get yourself a gravestone, are that dash on a piece of granite and a funeral program stuck to a magnet on a fridge, then you damn well want to make these days worth it. So get your ass out there, set goals, the hell with resolutions, and get shit done, folks. I appreciate you. I'm going to be away until Sunday evening. Thanks for making this, what is it, a Wednesday morning, one hell of an episode. I didn't think I'd go nearly an hour, and here we are, just about 53 minutes. So thanks, folks. I love you. This community means so much to me. And like I said, I spoke everyone into existence, and I will never take that for granted. I talked about a community before you were here, and now we have this incredible community. So thanks. So, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.